Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain Free You. Today, I guess the topic is this. Who do you see yourself as? All right, think about that. How do you see yourself? Who do you think you are? I don't mean that in a weird way, like, who do you think you are? I mean, like, really, who do you think you are? What's your perception, self-perception? So, we'll get into that in a minute. Hope everybody's doing great. Relax, breathe. All right. So how do you see yourself as? Who do you think you are as a person, as a human being, as an earthling? So, I have this concept called narrative shift, right? And, flip the script, change the story, narrative shift. So what is the narrative you have about yourself? I know there are some people, especially in this pain-free community, that view themselves as, I'm sick, I'm the sick one. I even had somebody tell me, yeah, I see myself as a cripple. Wow, heavy stuff. So do you see yourself as broken, overly anxious, depressed, mental health issues, weak, scared, terrified even? Do you see yourself as sick? Any of those descriptives, if any of those descriptives fits you, I'm going to say time for a narrative shift. Because I will say that those narratives are not serving you. They're not helping you to move forward in life in general, and they're certainly not helping you to get better from this mind-body thing that I call perceived danger symptoms or perceived danger pain, right? And even though these symptoms and pains may prohibit you from doing a lot of things and create a whole bunch of mental and emotional turmoil in your life, I'm going to really encourage you to start to shift the narrative and start to see this image of yourself as the sick one, as the one with limited mobility, the one, like I used to be the back pain guy. Everybody in my office, at work, and the neighborhood, everybody was like, hey Dan, how's the back? How's the back? How's the back? How's the back? That was the narrative, and I accepted it. I didn't embrace it, but I just accepted it, and that's the role I played for a while. So I was the guy in my family, at work, the neighborhood, with back pain. My narrative was, oh, can't do this, can't do that because my back, right? So what is your self-perspective? What is your narrative about yourself? How do you see yourself? And if it is on the negative side, towards not being capable, or too weak, or too anxious, or too depressed, or too broken, or too traumatized, or too sick, excuse me, really time to change that. Flip the script, change the narrative, rewrite your story, because that may be who you see yourself as if you look in the rearview mirror. But what we're doing here is kind of remolding yourself and saying, no, those are old limiting beliefs. We're going to crumple them up. You saw that coming, I'm sure. You're going to crumple up those limiting beliefs and toss them out, right? Because if you see yourself as all of those, I'll say less than strong, capable, healthy type of images, That self-perception is going to really hold you back. It's going to make it harder to get better. I want you to start to see yourself as somebody who's been through a heck of a lot and is a warrior, a champion, a fighter, somebody who is standing up for themselves, lifting themselves up, right? Making themselves a priority. That doesn't mean saying screw you to everybody in your life. It just means not saying screw you to yourself because you're the sick one or the broken one. No, you're going to treat yourself the way you want others to support you and lift you up on this journey through these chronic symptoms, right? It's really important to start to see yourself in a different light, to start seeing yourself as somebody who has gotten through a lot. You've got 100% track record of making it through every bad day you've had, and I'm sure you've had a ton of them. But that doesn't make you sick or broken or weak. That makes you incredibly strong and incredibly capable, because somehow you've managed to hold it together enough to make it through these days. Some of you with more limitations than others, some of you with, seemingly not stopping yourself from doing anything, some of you still working, some of you still exercising, still raising kids, being a partner, and some, complete bed rest. But it doesn't matter what your personal scenario is. You still have, 100% track record of making it through a bad day. Period. End of discussion. Give yourself some credit for that, because it wasn't easy, and I know it's not easy. But give yourself credit for that. Pat yourself on the back. And know that if you can make it through those bad days, if there's any bad days in the future, you're going to make it through them too, because you've already proven it, that you're capable of it. But how do you see yourself? What's your self-image? It's important. Now, if your self-image stems back to childhood, I want you to think about this. Is that self-image yours, or was it given to you by those who raised you or who you were around as a kid? Maybe there were some mean girls in school or mean boys, bullies in school, and they called you names and picked on you. Is your self-image as an adult based on stupid shit that happened in school as a kid? Is your self-image as an adult based on maybe some of the less than supportive things that our parents may have said to us, or our siblings, or our grandparents, or whatever? If you've got a terribly negative self-image, I'm going to encourage you to start to distance yourself from that and say, that's what the world told me, and I no longer have to accept that. And when I say self-image is something that was given to you, I want you to think about a 2-year-old that's raised in a reasonably healthy environment. Do they have a self-image problem? No. I'm wonderful. Kids, little kids think they are God's gift to the world. They think they are amazing. They don't have self-image problems until a negative self-image was given to them and repeated over and over and over by teachers, parents, siblings, grandparents, mean kids at school, whomever. Your boss as an adult, the coworkers as an adult, people you've dated, partners you've had, and some of the projections or the statements they've made about you. Look, our self-image is made up of this big wad of clay of crap that's been thrown at us throughout our lives. But look, we're adults now. Guess who gets to make your self-image now? You do. You get to decide who you're going to be, how you're going to show up for yourself. How do you see yourself? And if you're saying, I see myself as the sick one, the weak one, the one that's frail and easily broken, I'm going to suggest that you shift that narrative and start to see yourself as bigger, better, more, stronger, capable, a warrior. I don't mean to say that in a way that this is a huge battle, because what I think I see often, not what I think, what I know I see often, is that when I see people get to the other side and they start to realize, I'm not broken, they make that the dominant thought, and they teach their brain that they're okay, and they start to see symptoms and pains fading away, and they get to the other side to where they feel like, I'm a success, I've done this. Inevitably, they'll look back and go, this really wasn't that complicated. And it wasn't that hard. It took a decision, a commitment to treat myself the way I want to be treated, to support myself the way I want to support myself, as I'd like support, to really know that I'm not broken. And it's not about doing a 15-point checklist every day for the next 6 years to get better and stay better. It's about truly knowing deep in your heart, I'm actually not broken, so I don't have to do as much as I think I do. I mean, of course, you want to teach your brain that you're safe, that you're okay, that you're not broken, you're not weak, you're frail, you're not sick, right? Even if you've got symptoms that might appear from the outside to be sick or disabled, crippled. I don't like those words, but people use them to describe themselves. But notice, if you've got a lot of that language lingering, start to see yourself differently. Visualize a different you. Create a version 2.0 of yourself, right? Or whatever number you want to give it. I like thinking I'm on version 5.8 because I'm 58 years old. 5.8. We're always changing. We're always growing. And if you feel like your life is getting smaller, it may have something to do with how you see yourself, right? If you'd like things to change, you're probably going to want to start changing that image of yourself and start shifting the narrative and the story you tell yourself about yourself to say, those are old stories. I don't have to believe that crap. I just don't. And create an image for yourself, a vision for your future. What do you want to be when you grow up? Who do you want to be when you grow up? Put a smile on your face and think about that. Strong, capable, happy. Just think about it. Who do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up? Really empowering questions to ask yourself. Play with that. Imagine it. Then start seeing it's possible. Then each and every day make a commitment to yourself to take steps closer and closer and closer to this, ideal version of yourself. It's possible. And if you make efforts each and every day, it's not just possible, it's probable that you're going to start to become more and more like the person you want to be, that you were born to be. Because this life of chronic symptoms and pain, that's not who you were born to be. I don't believe any of us are destined to a life of suffering. We ended up there through no fault of our own. But I think it's infinitely possible and probable that if you follow a proven system to treat yourself better, correct these pieces of misinformation that's had your brain operating on fear and bad data, I know we can get better. I've seen it so many times over the past several years that I've been doing these videos. I see comments all the time, people saying, Dan, I'm doing so much better because of your stuff, or I'm completely pain-free, or I'm completely symptom-free, or I got rid of this symptom or that symptom with your work and by watching your videos. This stuff works. I mean, I know it now. 4, 5, 6 years ago when I was getting into the coaching, I was kind of like, I hope I know how to teach people to do this stuff. I did it for myself, but didn't really have a way of explaining it or a system. And so I was unsure multiple years ago. And fortunately, I had the blessing to have a friend of mine nudge me and say, hey, start shooting some videos. Do, a daily video for a week, see what happens. And that was, I think, like 1,770 some odd days ago. So I'm blessed. By teaching every day, I learn more. By reading all of the comments from all of you on the internet, I learn more every day. By doing my group coaching, I'm interacting with probably 125 people a week, live on Zoom calls. I'm learning more every day. I'm seeing evidence of these concepts I teach in these daily videos working every day. So I could be more confident that the approach I am suggesting, although it may seem too simple for some people, is actually just right, because simplicity is the key. It makes it attainable, doable, easier to implement. I didn't say easy, easier. So, time to take stock. Who do you see yourself as? And if you see yourself as something less than the version of yourself that you know you were born to be, that you can be, that you want to be, if you see yourself as that, it's time for a narrative shift, right? You can change your story. You can rewrite your story. Doesn't matter how deep in despair and, symptoms you're at right now. Hey, Finn. Doesn't matter. There's always an opportunity. It's never too late to make changes for the better and improve your quality of life, symptom-wise, mental health-wise, mood-wise, just pure joy and satisfaction in being alive every day. I saw a stat the other day that, if you woke up today, you're blessed. Around the globe, 150,000 people did not wake up today. That's a pretty heavy stat. Be blessed. Know that you have the gift of being here. And don't make it drudgery. Don't make it despair. Kind of take some ownership. Step up. Decide who you want to be, how you want to be, how you want to show up in the world, how you want to show up for yourself. And take steps each and every day to get there. I'm a work in progress. You're a work in progress. We're all a work in progress. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's got this stuff figured out, because life is hard. But it can be better with effort, consistent practice, consistent messages of safety can turn off these symptoms and pains. So, I love you all. I'm on a ramble here. It's a topic I like. So, we'll see you tomorrow. And create a narrative shift. Create a version of yourself that inspires you. And take inspired action every day to get there. Love you, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.